Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Buckeye Weekly Podcast. I'm Tony Gerdeman here, as always, with Tom Moore. Tom, how's it going?
Tony, the great thing about these portal shows is that when one guy leaves, when the portal closes a door, it opens a window. We get to do, hey, this guy just left show, and now we get to do, hey, this guy's coming. Might be the new replacement show. This is if the portal just stayed open forever, we could just do like 6 shows a day from now until the heat death of the universe. Who says no?
I don't. I like it. I love this. I love the constant concern and worry of, as we're recording, is something else going on that is going to ruin this recording. And once we're finally done recording, it's like, oh, finally, I can take a break. And then, nope, Twitter says, no, can't take a break. You got to get back at it. And so we are here, yes. Now, officially, Mylan Graham out of the picture, signed, gone. So now Ohio State has to fill this role again, because clearly they still wanted to bring him back, so they still wanted another spot. And now with him gone, you're looking for another replacement. And they already brought in Devin McEwen. Now they're talking to, or maybe the latest target here is Daryl Gil Jr. from Syracuse, 6'3", 190, junior this past season. Pretty darn good year of 32 catches, 506 yards, 5 touchdowns. Last year, 31 catches, 570 yards, 2 touchdowns with Kyle McCord. I'm sure Ryan Day called up Kyle's like, hey, what do you think about this guy? And got a full download from him on that. But, as you said, one door closes, another one opens. Daryl Gil Jr., perhaps certainly the latest portal target that we are talking about.
Yeah, definitely the latest name that we're hearing on the wide receiver front. And, he's someone who sort of fits with what they have been looking for in the portal this cycle, which is he's played 3 years at Syracuse, played in a major conference. He's been reasonably productive. You've sort of seen what you needed to out of him to know that, this is someone who can at least be a contributor at the Ohio State level, if not more. And there are certainly some flashes there as well. I mean, 18.4 yards per reception as a sophomore in 2024, that's pretty darn good. That shows you some a little bit of a deep threat. And if you're looking at replacing a Mylan Graham and replacing a Carnell Tate, that's kind of what you're looking for there. He in his sophomore year, and this is with Kyle McCord as his quarterback, had 9 catches for 185 yards, 20.6 yards per catch against UConn, 4 catches for 145 yards, 36.3 yards per catch in the Holiday Bowl against Washington State. So there is some real big playability there. And I think it's probably safe to say that Ohio State feels reasonably confident at X right now with Jeremiah Smith and Chris Henry Jr. And, you feel like the slot is in decent shape right now. And now you've brought in a couple of guys who are, you brought in obviously from the McEwen from UTSA. Now you're looking at potentially another guy who is maybe a little bit of a speed, stretch the field kind of guy. That's really the shoes that they're trying to fill right now.
Yeah, and he started for the bulk of this year for Syracuse and was one of their most popular targets, and is a guy that can stretch the field. Was, I think, despite, having like 30 some catches, 32 catches or whatever, 5 of them went for 30 yards or more. 3 of them went for over 40 yards. So you see that yard per catch average up there a little bit, which is what they want. They want somebody that can stretch the field, and he's one of those guys, and he's got the experience doing that. And now, can Ohio State close the deal? That's, they'd sure like to. I mean, they're talking to him, and this is not one that, I do wonder if more names might pop up because there's now another need, or if this is like, well, let's see if we can get this guy in. If not, we'll stick with what we've got. And then, what they've got over right now in that receiver position, having lost a handful of guys and now dealing with the idea of playing some freshmen. And I keep saying, I think this 2026 class is going to, a few of these guys are going to play. The unfortunate thing is they're all going to view themselves as starters next year, and so they're going to want to be paid as starters. But when you look at that Z-type receiver, Devin McEwen, an experienced guy, we'll see if Jerquaden Guilford, the true freshman, can add to that. See if Brock Boyd, a true freshman, can add to that. I think Jaden Ricks, probably a little ways away. He's certainly got the speed to do all of that, but just you want to see him continue to develop as a receiver. And I know we're talking about receivers. I don't know if Chris Henry Jr. needs to be part of this mix of the discussion, because he's certainly not this kind of receiver. He's a bigger X receiver. But if Tom, if you would like to talk about him, go ahead. But in terms of the speed guy, they're certainly looking for a target. They're not looking for another X guy. And the fact that Quincy Porter left as one of those X guys, and they certainly weren't okay with him leaving, but they could have done more maybe to keep him. And it's like, well, there's not a lot we can do. Go ahead and go live your life. But they would still like another speed guy to add to this room.
Yeah, and he is a legitimate speed guy. And I can hear people saying, why didn't he improve from his sophomore season to his junior season? And the answer is he did. You just can't see it because you're looking at the stats. And here is a little bit that you need to know about Syracuse football in the year of our Lord 2025. Here is Daryl Gill's stats by game. Season opener against Tennessee, 2 catches, 33 yards. Week 2 against UConn, 4 catches, 84 yards. Week 3 against Colgate, 6 catches, 2 yards, 2 touchdowns. Week 4 against Clemson, 2 catches, 41 yards and a touchdown. And then after that, his numbers go off a cliff. I can hear you asking, Tony, why did his numbers go off a cliff? Well, let me tell you what else happened in that Clemson game. Steve Angeli, the starting quarterback, who was averaging 8.4 yards per attempt, he got hurt and then was out for the season. And then they replaced him with a couple guys who were not as good as Steve Angeli by a long shot. Angeli, you may remember, was the backup for Notre Dame 2 years ago, and he was the one who came in and kind of had that one drive in the Orange Bowl against Penn State. He went to Syracuse last year, looked great for the first month of the season, and I think Gill was a big part of that, and then got hurt, and then they replaced him with Ricky Collins, who averaged 5.8 yards per attempt. Is that good? No, it is not. Joseph Filardi was the other guy who came in, 3.5 yards per attempt. If you are passing for what would be a rather poor rush yardage to average, that's really not good. So Syracuse's season kind of went off a cliff because their passing game sort of disappeared and their offense sort of evaporated. So, I think Gill's numbers would probably be a lot shinier had Angeli stayed healthy all season. And he probably would have been he might have been someone who was a little higher up in those portal rankings if the back half of his season didn't have a bunch of, 4 catches, 34 yards, 1 catch, 13 yards, 1 catch, 4 yards, 2 catch, 18 yards. He didn't forget how to play football, but the offense around him kind of cratered as soon as it lost its starting quarterback. So that I think is some important context to this conversation.
I'll also throw in, over the course of the season, they had 2 different guys starting at left tackle, 3 different guys starting at left guard, 3 different centers, and 3 different right guards, and 2 different right tackles. So that's also a lot of math. And no, in fact, it is not. It is not good. But there you go. Just another target for you guys to keep in mind for the Buckeyes out of the portal. If you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and hit the thumbs up. We'd appreciate that. Hit the bell to be notified. Subscribe to the channel if you've not yet done so. I don't know why you would have not done so by this point. After all of these shows that we're doing for you, I'm not doing this for me. Tom, am I doing this for you? No. Also,
never.
5-star rating and review is also appreciated. And you can continue to find us at BuckeyeHuddle.com. Thank you all for tuning in, and we'll talk to you all later.